So we got LA Knight versus a mystery opponent in the Last Time Is Now challenge. And radio, tell me everything you know. It is Zack Ryder who shown up here, not in Madison Square Garden, but in Albany, New York.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that just is. I'm sure he'll take it. Okay?
Oh, he'll take it.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll take it. This is his first WWE match in 5.5 years. I thought he looked a bit emotional for his entrance here. Did you feel that way?
I did too. I thought the pop he got was very good, but not certainly people weren't losing their minds or anything like that. But he's Zack Ryder. He's not, a returning like mega legend, But yeah, I think I'm sure a main roster walk down that ramp is going to be emotional for him after 5.5 years. NXT, he has been on NXT, but it's not the same thing, down at the Performance Center. So to be, on the road here.
He looked even emotional walking into the crowd in NXT. So yeah, we know how much this guy's wanted to come back. He's been very public about that. Are you surprised or disappointed that he didn't get a New York City return, MSG return?
I just wonder, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier in the show, who they have lined up for Cena on Monday. We're drawing a blank as to who that could be that's going to have real name value. And
I would have thought
it's
his
not
spot.
Zack Ryder.
I would have thought
in
his
the
spot.
frame.
I would have thought his spot was the Sheamus surprise opponent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to get into that NYC show. Yeah. Interesting. Anyway, but we'll get into the match, I guess. But he I think he's certainly emotional here.
Yeah. So I think he would have got a great reaction in New York. At the same time, WWE must have somebody bigger to use for a show that big. Maybe they consider the stage too big to give to somebody who maybe they don't intend on having beyond this, but we'll see. So this is Cardona's first match in WWE in 5.5 years. Graves says this is not the same Zack Ryder. He's reinvented himself with death matches. Cole says, I think I saw this guy a few weeks ago in NXT, and Graves says, I think they called him something else, but never mind. Crowd gives him a good reaction. They do the woo woo woo. After a commercial, Ryder connects pretty hard on a broski boot to LA Knight here. Ryder then connects with the Rough Rider, getting a 2 count. The BFT is countered with a schoolboy for a 2 count. He then goes for a top rope Rough Rider, but Knight counters it with the power bomb, and then he hits the BFT for the victory. And gotta say, Neil, on paper, Zack Ryder versus LA Knight is not necessarily. I mean, they're both guys who I would say are more known for their personality than their heavyweight in ring style.
Yep.
But I thought the match exceeded my expectation, and I think so much of it, was due to the novelty of seeing Zack Ryder keeping this crowd engaged. I thought the work for the time that they had, I thought was pretty decent, and especially with the finish, I thought which looked pretty good as well.
The cynic in me, once Zack had made his entrance, was here are two archetypal WWE style in-ring guys. This is going to be super patterned, super predictable. And on one level, it was that. It was a very old school WWE match with two very well matched, if you like, opponents. Mm-hmm. But it was a really, really good example of that. And I think certainly by the end of the match as well, I think you're right. Things were the counters, the moves. They were complementing each other extremely well. They had quite a lot of chemistry, and by the end, I had my mind changed. I thought this was a very good example of this kind of match from two guys who are sort of well versed in it. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. It makes it sound boring, but it wasn't.
No, it makes total sense. Like you mentioned, this is very much two sort of quintessential, maybe 2010s, maybe late 2000s WWE guys, two guys that are jacked and built and not necessarily doing 450s or anything like that. but I would still say I was very entertained enough by them doing this. And maybe for me, it's just like when I'm watching SmackDown, I'm not expecting every match to look like Axiom versus Ilya Dragunov. I kind of have a different standard, and I'm maybe more so measuring the crowd's engagement, which I thought they were for this one. And I just thought overall, like, this was an engaging, entertaining match. At the end of this, do you see a role for Zack Ryder in the WWE?
I could, particularly if, as we expect, SmackDown goes to 3 hours. He could be I think, a good addition to the mid-card of this show. I think it's worth noting that Zack Ryder is 40, and that's not old at all in today's landscape. In fact, LA Knight is 3 years older than that. So it's not like he's washed. He has his style. He can kind of be another LA Knight. I don't think he's as good a promo. He doesn't have as big an aura, if you like. But the two of them are they're kind of well matched in a lot of ways. In this match, in their build, in the way they wrestle, I think there's a place for Zack Ryder. Yeah.
As the chat room is letting us know, they are currently selling Zack Ryder merch at www.shop.com. And I don't know if this necessarily confirms anything. Like, they did the same with the Hardys when they had like the NXT appearances. I mean, it confirms that they are happy to make money off of this guy. And for them, I don't know if it costs more than just like setting a Photoshop file to the printers to say like, hey, like this, like we got this design, we got some new designs even. Can you make some money for us? And there you go. But I do think, depending on how much merch he sells, how hot this is, it might be a selling point for him to make that argument about just getting a new contract. Certainly, when we look at like some of these recent hires, like fucking Tonga Loa has a job in this company, and I hate to rag on this guy, but like, it shows that if there's a spot, if there's a role for you, if there's a character for you, if you fit into a storyline, well, you can be brought on. And I see Cardona's path to be Chelsea Green. Like, I just think like Chelsea is a principal character right now in the women's division in this company. And I'm kind of excited to see what she and her real life husband would be able to do on screen together. I think they'd have so much fun together. Now, I've said similar about Chelsea Green with Ethan Page. She kind of has like a male, counterpart right now already. Yeah. I thought that they would be taking that to the main roster as an act. It's been several weeks now. That doesn't seem to be happening. It seems to be strictly an NXT thing, AAA thing. But eventually down the line, a Chelsea and Zack, some sort of duo, I think would be a lot of fun to watch.
Though Ethan did pop. Ethan was there for Chelsea's win on SmackDown. So there was that, which led me down the same sort of path that you're talking about, Way. But I could see the two, the real couple here together. And I agree with you that there are several routes in any wrestling company, particularly this one. You've got a Tala Tonga who's very limited in the ring, but he's very tall. So he gets a spot. You've got Tangaloa, who even in his Gorillas of Destiny days, I don't think was very good, as someone who was New Japan trained. And yeah, I'm ragging on him again, but it's kind of true. I
love him for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, it's that. And there is always the sort of mid-card good hand. And Zack has that like written all over him. He does have his fans that are still around. He's kind of well-liked. I think he's never burned a bridge. I think, they're not taking on anyone who's going to cause any issues backstage, all of that. So that is all working in his favor. And the fact that they've, as Triple H reminded us, so many hours of TV to fill, and Saturday night's main events and PLEs. And I don't think Zack will be on any PLEs, but he can certainly have a spot on a 3-hour SmackDown somewhere.
And I don't know if this means anything. I don't know if it means much more than just playing to the internet. But we got Paul Lebeck doing a pointing photo with Zack Ryder.
Look at those teeth.
The end of this. Oh,
My great takeaway is the fluorescence of Cardona's teeth.
He must use white strips, Crest white strips. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, Matt Cardona. Do you guys want to see him back in the WWE? I mean, I think much of the audience demand will determine it. So, wait, what did Levesque here? Post here. Triple H also tweeted, "You never know who might show up in the Last Time Is Now tournament. It's all about opportunity, and Matt Cardona proved that tonight. At the Matt Cardona proved that tonight. So there you go. Very interesting."
November on the Post Wrestling Cafe will include Rewind Away, looking at some of the biggest retirement matches in pro wrestling history with selections from All Japan Pro Wrestling, WWE, and Stardom, among others. Plus, we'll have reviews of TNA Turning Point, UFC 322 from Madison Square Garden, and the Tanahashi Final Homecoming. John and Wei will be taking all of your questions on this month's installment of Ask Away, and John gets together with Brandon from New Jersey for a Season 4 retrospective of 90210. All that and so much more. Join now at postwrestlingcafe.com. $6 gets you in the door.